From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. There's a whole lot of female going on this episode. What's this hosting?
I'm Vicki.
I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Audra.
And
I'm Chris.
we've got a guest who's a female too. Look at this. It's like the perfect race team. We've got 4 lady racers here.
What?
We do.
What? That's a rarity.
It is.
One spot.
Unfortunately, it is. And we are going to try to figure out why and how to fix it. And let's talk about all the good stuff. But just in case, we have from NASA Great Lakes. That's where I first met her. Driver, racer, instructor, co-group leader, all around good person to know. Chris Losiniecki, welcome to the podcast.
Very kind, Bill Fisher.
Not a problem, miss. So, our podcast, some people say it's good, some people say it's bad, some people run away in tears. It depends on how they go. But one thing that everybody's uniquely solid on is my intros suck. So what did I miss? Help me out.
Well, I've been doing this 10 years. I am the only full-time female instructor for NASA Great Lakes.
That's got to change. Nothing personal.
Missy Davis joins me on occasion, but I like to tell people, everyone's like, that's so weird. I said, it's like having 50 brothers. You know, it's a great environment. I really, really enjoy it. I look forward to my race weekends every time. And I'm looking forward next year to possibly doing some more stuff, you know, outside of Great Lakes, maybe doing some endurance racing. You know, this is the first year that I've done all this myself. Last year I raised the Force car. So I just showed up and Marlon had a wonderfully prepared car for me.
The Deuce.
Free race event. And it was awesome. I was first in points. And a lot of that was because Marlon had this great car and all I had to do was show up. Ellen Reinhardt is in that car now. And so I am towing across the country by myself, loading the car, unloading the car, fighting, you know.
Oh, we know.
Typical 30-year-old Miata problems. And I know, you know, Bill, we're fighting with your car at Mid-Ohio.
Little bit. I think I lost the fight. I think the car won.
Yeah, it happens. I get that a
lot. You didn't even see the tow home story.
Right? Yeah, there was a whole tow home story.
It's not pretty at all. But so you're staying in the Miata land for now?
I love it. I love my Miata. I was actually talking with someone else about this weekend because a car came up for sale. An NA Miata came up, and he said, you know, you should buy it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I really trust my girl. You know, I've been driving the same car all 10 or 11 years that I've been doing this. And it's so predictable, and I love my car. It's very good for me.
How did you actually get started? So you've had the same car, and that's it. This is one car?
Yeah. Years and years ago, when I was married, my older son was away at college, and my younger son was touring around with his band. He was in high school, so, you know, bar mitzvahs and grad parties and whatever, and they were both just entirely too fancy to have any time for their ratty parents. And so my ex-husband said, he had been into racing previously, but he was an oval track guy, and he was talking to someone at work who was part of NASA, and he said, this sounds kind of fun. What do you think about just buying a Miata and going to learn how to road race? And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, why not? I'll try anything once. So we bought this little red Miata off Craigslist and threw a roll bar in it and went to NASA Great Lakes. And I was hooked from that first weekend. I was an absolute nightmare. Oh my God, I had never done anything like this before. And George Close Jr. was my very first instructor. And God bless his heart. He was so patient with me. And I went through a million instructors over, the course of moving through the system. But I loved it. And I couldn't get enough. So I told him, well, I guess you better start looking for another Miata because this one's going to be mine. So the first idea we were going to share it. And then that went to the wayside because I wasn't giving up any track time. And yeah, so I still have that same car, and obviously it's been upgraded over the years. But I love her. It's the only car I've driven other cars on track, but that's always been my main car.
That's pretty cool.
Can
You
you
mentioned
talk?
like moving through the system.
Oh.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, what is moving through the system? Like, how did you move up? Like, where did you start, and how did that path progress?
Well, it was a very different educational system back then. It was much looser. It wasn't as formal as it is now. And so I started, in HPDE 1, and Aaron Sayas was classroom HPDE 1 classroom teacher back then. Now it is John Santiago and Bob Ellis. But back then it was Aaron, and just went to class. And like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. And a lot of people just sort of assumed that because my husband at the time, because he was a racer, that I knew stuff. Like, I don't know, osmosis, maybe. I don't know. But I was completely green about this stuff. And so I really struggled to get through D1 to just understand like general concepts, stuff that was completely foreign to me. And I swore then, I was like, I want to make this easier for people because I hate that aspect of it. And since then, Eric Meyer came on board and pretty much overhauled our education system, and it's much more structured now. So I went, all the way through the ranks. Started in HPD 1, went through D2, and then I spent a long time in HPD 3 because I just loved it so much.
Three is awesome.
I wasn't ready to instruct yet. And the drills that they run they're incredible. I mean, every single time you do these drills, you learn something new.
Was that with Robin at the time?
That's with Robin Burnett, and Robin is an absolutely outstanding group leader. He is fantastic. And I stayed in HPD 3 for 2 years because I didn't want to move. I was totally happy where I was.
In 3?
In 3, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was, I didn't have a desire to move up. And then, I got the bug to instruct because that was, I got back to, trying to keep myself honest about helping more people through the system. And by then, it was rote. You could do it in your sleep. And so that's what I did. So then I went through the MSF program. I went down, I took, the MSF 1 training. Then I went down to Sebring, Florida, and did MSF 2 there with Chin track days. And I've been instructing ever since. Last year, I got my TT license. So now I run time trials. So I ran time trials last year in Marlon Sumlin's Deuce. And this year I continue to run time trials in my Miata. And I instruct now. I've stepped in as a co-group leader for our intro program. And so now I'm doing that as well.
Good.
So it's been a journey.
So what are some of your goals?
One of my goals is really to get some company. I want to. I think one of the reasons that I enjoy intro so much is I want to really kind of demystify this process for other women as much as I can. I think there's this belief out there that this is an old boys network, or that women aren't welcome there, and that has just not been my experience at all. And one of my goals is really to just garner enough interest that I can get some women up through the ranks so I can have some female instructors, some peers. There's nothing wrong with the guys. Like I said, it's like having 50 brothers. They're wonderful to me. And I if it's something that you want to do, I don't think that feeling threatened or feeling overwhelmed should be the thing that holds you back, because there's no one there that is going to, they're not going to make you feel that way. So, but they need someone to tell them that.
Do you really think that that might be what's holding them back?
To some degree. I mean, and some of it is, I've had this debate with other people before too. Women just have more responsibilities. They just do. They don't get to just jump in the car and, go racing for a weekend. If one of the two of them is going to do it, usually it's the husband. And I was lucky that I was in a position where my kids, I could go do what I wanted to do for a weekend. And, my 17-year-old, if we were an hour and a half away at Gingerman, he's not going to do it. I could, I had other parents who were watching him and whatever. And the older one was away at college. Not everyone is that lucky. So I don't really, I think that's part of the problem, but I don't think it's.
Well, the other thing too, I mean, if you really think about it, is that women, again, like you said, they have more responsibility. There's children that have to be tended to. And it women just in general, I guess being mothers, we have a tendency to give to everybody else. Always. We're always giving. So to enter into a sport that has a high ticket to it, it's, I guess to some, it feels a little selfish when you're pulling those resources from, say, other areas of the family that makes other people happy. So I think that might be another thing that holds women back is that it's easy, the leveling up of what it entails, like tools, and there's also a learning curve on that also, which Audra is experiencing.
Well, that's part of it, right?
Right. But if you're walked into it, yeah.
I think a lot of people think that you have to be a mechanic in order to come do this.
No.
And you don't. Like, my water pump went in grid. Well, 3 people helped me drag it off the grid, and we got it on the trailer and took it home. And I don't know how to fix a water pump by myself. I don't have I can't do that kind of work on my own. That's something that takes 2 people.
Right.
But they think that you have to have a big ticket car. I got a Miata off Craigslist 10 years ago and I'm still driving it.
Right.
So it's not, you don't have to come into this with a $50,000 car and a big shiny trailer, and you don't have to know how to use all the tools. And no one is going to say to you, like, well, what are you doing here? You don't belong here.
No, but nobody's
know how to do this.
Literally,
that is
everybody
not the
out there.
environment.
Nobody ever says that.
No.
Actually, at the races, they're really happy to see women show up, and not like in a weird way. It's just they like, find awesome. It very cool.
Welcome. Yeah.
They want women to show up.
And I think that is something that a lot of women outside of this environment don't realize. Not only are you not going to be pushed away, you're going to be welcomed, because
and it's not like in a creepy way either. It's not like in a
it's
right.
not in a yucky way. They just,
Mhm.
you want to grow the sport, and you can't grow the sport if half the population doesn't want to participate.
Right.
So, and I've seen more younger women, different groups that you belong to on Facebook. Shift Up Now does a lot of stuff. Girls Gone Racing does a lot of stuff. So you see a lot more exposure. But
I think it's
NASA's not
kids.
really, well, it is. And NASA's not where
Kids.
16-year-olds go to raise hell. This is, for the most part, it's more grown people. So, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, Corbin Collins is young, and so is Airden Grimm.
Yep.
But they're the exception and not the rule. So more,
Yeah.
and it's just geared more towards adults. I would love to have more company. So come on, y'all, come instruct with us. We'll have a little party.
I'm curious though, are you seeing more like older adults, whether male or female, than younger people coming into the sport anyway?
In NASA Great Lakes, I think like what I instruct in, because I do intro, it kind of runs the gamut. So we've had, this upcoming weekend, I have 2 people that need minor waivers, so they're not yet 18. And for some people, they bought this Toyota Supra. This is a bucket list item. So these are guys who, they retired and they're like, I'm going to go buy myself a sports car. So they're at the other end of the spectrum where they're, late 50s, early or mid 60s. And so we've got everything in between.
I think
So I think we're getting more like around, I would say 20s and 30s is the bulk of what I feel like the newer people that we're getting into NASA.
That's really good to hear.
I think the thing I see at Great Lakes, and it's typical for the other NASA groups and the other groups we go to, except maybe Grid Life is different, is you see a continuous distribution of male drivers, but you see
Yes.
like a 20 to 25 year hole of female drivers. Like you'll see female drivers up until families and kids, and then you'll see
Right.
post, but you won't see, there's that 20-25 year hole where
Right.
we just don't see it.
Exactly. Well, and some of it is a resource thing too.
Oh,
You've
sure.
got young kids at home. You're not
Yep.
going to throw all that money at a car. A NASA weekend, that's a whole vacation. So
Yeah.
It is.
that's a water park vacation. When you have kids that are that age between, having the bulk of the responsibility and allocating those resources, it's just not happening.
But it's kind of weird because we'll let our husbands go
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
weekend.
Right?
But it's different because, like, again, I think that moms have a tendency to think of everybody else ahead of them, so they would not take those resources for themselves. But they will
Correct.
certainly say, "Hey, hubby, you go have a great time," because
Right.
that's the giving aspect of them. Until, post kids and stuff like that, then they're like, "It's my turn." And that's what you're finding. I'm quite sure we are experiencing that right now,
Right.
where it's like we're going, it's our turn now.
Yeah.
And I think that accounts for a good chunk of the window why we're not seeing enough women in it. It's not that they don't want to, I'm sure, but they just don't realize it yet.
I think part of it is it just doesn't occur to them. Like, what are you talking about going to the racetrack?
Yeah.
I'm certain that if my ex had not suggested this, it would not one time have occurred to me. Like, you know what? I'm going to go to Audubon and learn how to race cars. Would have never entered my mind. But once I got there, it was fantastic, and I had a great time.
Best decision you ever made.
It was, yeah. The best and the worst, right? So,
well, I mean, besides Tim Fokine.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I love Tim. Tim is my favorite person. And I tell Reese Fokine all the time, so you are my favorite kid. Which he's not my kid. So don't tell my sons, but you're my favorite kid.
You're a favorite A kid.
well, he brings me coffee. So
well, yeah. Anybody shows up with coffee.
Yeah, well, when instructors are getting to the track, it's early and nothing's open yet.
Nope.
So he shows up an hour after we get started and he's got my coffee for me. So, Reese, you're my favorite. That whole Fokine bunch, those are great people.
They are great
Those
people.
are my people.
For sure.
You're okay too, Fisher.
Now for those playing the home game, you'll notice I did not get in front of that last discussion because I don't want to sleep in the tub tonight. Yes.
Oh, well, probably an excellent idea.
Exactly. That's
Sleeping
basically
in the tub sounds terrible.
this whole podcast is a landmine for me to step on at some point. That's okay. I'm good with it though.
Bless your heart. So
Miss Vicki.
Yes. So, what do you do outside of your regular family life? Do you have what is your general profession?
I'm a corporate paralegal.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's
good funding.
2 minutes late today because I was driving home from downtown Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I work for a large law firm downtown. And I generally keep myself busy and out of trouble when I'm not at the track,
So what is their general opinion of you out racing?
You know what? They've been really supportive. I work for a very large firm and we go through, times where you're surfing Facebook and you got nothing to do. And holy cow, sometimes it's 50, 60, 70-hour weeks. And they know, like, the teams that I work with, Chris is going to be at the track this weekend. So, and I tell them ahead of time, like, hey, it's a race weekend, so I'm going to be gone. And most of them, oh, that's really cool. Tell us all about it. So they did a story last year for our company newsletter about force and about, my run up to the points race and all this kind of stuff. And I had attorneys. We have 25 offices around the world. And I had people from most of our domestic offices email me and tell me, like, that is really neat. Let me know how I can donate, where I can donate. How do I get into this? So I know there's a couple people in our West Coast offices now that are attending NASA events because of this story. So people are generally pretty supportive. And they, I'm game. I get it. And I tell them all the time, I'm going to be hauling my car from here to pit race. I'm going to be driving for the next 7 or 8 hours. If you need me, just call me and we can do a conference call while I'm sitting.
Absolutely, right?
Sitting in the truck. So, it's give and take. You have to, if I have a deal going, I have a deal going and I got to do the work. But I've managed to make it work pretty well. And most of the time they just leave me alone. So,
you know what? I don't think a lot of people, when they think about race car driving, I don't, and back to women, I don't think they realize that there's an access to it. Say, for instance, NASA.
Right.
So now when you were just talking about going into your office and you say, hey, this is how it is, and some people have actually gone out and tried it. Well, that was the information that you passed on. That's not really like greatly or widely out there or even like a consideration. But once they're introduced to the idea, I'm like, oh yeah, that might be interesting. And
that's where, I've talked to other women who are part of PCA and BMW Club, and they don't have a problem recruiting women. But I think when you're going to something like BMW Club, those are people who are already very, very interested in cars. You have kind of a built-in group to pick from, to pull from, because you have someone who's gone out and said, you know what, I want to buy a performance car. We don't really have that with NASA because you just run whatever
you got.
Right. And so I think it doesn't occur to them that, yeah, you can just show up on a Saturday morning and do the thing.
Show up in a minivan.
Well, and we had one last year. So,
yep.
And like this next event that we're doing is at Autobahn, which is close. It's the closest one to where I live.
Right.
It's in Joliet. And so I'll tell anybody who will listen at my place at where I work, I'm like, come on out. I'll get you a ride along in a car, do whatever, because I think that everybody should have access to this. if that's what you want to do, it's like the best kept secret, right? But if we want to
Mhm.
keep growing,
Or
we
at least
need
try it.
more men and women. We just need more people.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
last year has been incredible. We're selling out every run group. Which means we need more instructors. So we need
Mhm.
people to get up through those ranks and start doing what they're doing.
So upcoming, you talked about getting people involved. You've talked about maybe doing some endurance racing. What are the goals, to-dos, maybe bucket items, tracks, things that you want to experience?
Well, I'm presenting at Instructor Summit, so that's exciting.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's going to be around women's advocacy. And I mean, gosh, that's the dream, right? I was to retire and just get on the road, instruct. I would instruct full time, but I'm too young. I still need insurance, and it's and I think we're all kind of in that same boat. We're far away from where Medicare or something is going to take care of that kind of thing. So I have to keep a grown up job for right now. But that is a bucket list item. I would love to just haul around the country and race and instruct wherever.
You want to grow up to be Bill Griffin.
I know, right? I
I
do
know.
want to be Bill when I grow up.
You want to grow up to be a kid again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But don't we all, right? Like you work all these years and then God willing, you have the health and the resources when it's over to go do something you want to do
Hmm.
instead of just
Indeed.
sitting on your couch. But I think racing attracts people like that.
Yeah.
You have to have an active mind. If you want to be at the track, that's not for people that want to sit on the couch all the time. So you're someone that's thinking and trying to do stuff.
Mhm.
You're
It
an
has a
active
lot of
person.
vacation time or can do things on the road.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Work on the road.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Portable job, yeah.
Hey.
So how did you end up choosing the Miata? Why?
It was, we started doing some research and it turns out that is the most popular race car in the world is an NA Miata. Um, and at the time they were easy to find. And they're
Cheap.
easy to work on. It's an older car, so there's no magic involved there. It's a 91. So like even now that I'm here by myself, most basic stuff I can do myself. Like obviously I can't pull the motor because I'm one person. Um,
Oh, you could.
but well,
If I can, you can.
I could get my partner here and he could help me, but there's not a lot of electronics involved, stuff like that. And I really love the way it handles. It's like driving a go-kart, you
Isn't
know.
it?
It's great.
It
It's
is.
awesome. It's the most fun ever. Um, and it's not street legal anymore, but when it was, drive it back and forth to the track, it was so
Mhm.
fun. And I've driven other stuff over the years and yeah, I always come back to it.
So, do you have a racing philosophy? And if you don't, what would your racing philosophy be?
My racing philosophy. One of the things that I always abide by, and I probably have never said this out loud, but it's something that I think all the time is the golden rule. When you're out there, do unto others. Don't do something shady. Don't run somebody off the track. Don't do something terrible that you don't want someone to do to you. Um, and I'm certain that I've never said that out loud, but that's probably the basis of my philosophy is, winning is fantastic. We all love to win. Um, but if you go about it the wrong way, you're not going to gain any friends. And this is a family sport after all these years.
Mhm.
And you don't want to do something to somebody that's going to make it uncomfortable to see them in the dinner line later on that night.
Well, I think
Um,
somebody had just basically said it takes everybody to get around the track safely.
it does.
Yeah.
Everybody has to work together.
And we all know that guy, right? Like every
There's always one.
organization has that guy or that woman or whatever who, goes out there and acts like a jackass. And, I don't want to be that guy. So
Yeah.
that's really probably the basis of it. I'm out there to have fun, and over the years this has become like a family for me. So I don't want to do anything to my family and that, is going to haunt me later.
Have you participated in the enduro part of the racing
I
on
haven't
the
done
track?
any track. No. I've been invited a couple times and it just hasn't worked out.
At
Because
NASA?
usually, yeah, that's
Okay.
a last minute thing. And it's like, I don't have my stuff or whatever. So I learned now I drag my fire suit with me to every event. And even if it
Always.
never comes out of the trunk, it's there.
Mhm.
I did a couple lemons races.
Did you?
Oh yeah. I did a few events at Gingerman.
Hmm.
So, and that
Gingerman's a
was
fun track.
so fun. That was a blast. I loved lemons racing. It is the most fun you can have. It really is.
It is the
And
most fun you can have sober.
it totally is. And that's questionable for some of the people that are out there, but
Well, once the track is cold, we're not saying nothing about
yeah,
nothing.
right. But I mean, just the cobbled together crap that people come out there with, it's just that's as much fun as the racing part is,
Hmm.
the cars and the crazy team names, and and it's such a fun event. It really is. I had a blast every time that I did it. It was a lot of fun.
Hmm. So I was talking to a person that is a lemons racer that has moved up, but still does lemons racing. And she
Right.
said, and she said, it never really dawned on me how much lemons was traffic management. But traffic
Absolutely.
management is amazing skill to learn when you're racing.
Not
And
motocross.
it's traffic management, and
Yes.
especially in lemon racing, you better keep your head on a swivel, because
Right?
like we said, you have no idea. You could be, door to door with someone and it's awesome and you're going through the turns and it's great. And then you kind of lose them in traffic.
Hmm.
And 3 laps later, here comes the same car and it's like the person's drunk. Well, that's a different driver and it's someone who
Yeah.
maybe has never done this before.
And the other
So,
part about lemons too is you have to take predictability in seriously
oh, yeah.
because you know the car is there,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't see the car.
Correct.
You just have to predict what it might do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
I
lot,
mean,
and I think that's why it
100
wears you
cars
out
on
so
Gingerman
much.
is crazy talk. So, yeah, the car's there and there and there and there. So,
Right. Yeah.
it's traffic management is a big one. It's one of those things that you learn and you're going to learn it one way or the other.
Yeah. So when my friend had gone into the level up is when
Mhm.
she started having car problems
Oh,
because it was a hot lap the entire race at
oh
that
yeah,
point, and her engine couldn't keep up with it. So she had
right.
to put in she had to advance her oil cooling system
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
at least when you
those
had
are not
traffic
20-minute
management, you
stints like
had
what we do.
right.
Hmm.
Right. So it was for lemons, you have a chance to slow your car down. You have the hot pits and stuff like that where you're not stressing the engine. But when you don't have that many cars on the track, when you're racing only 40 cars versus 100 plus,
Right.
then your car is starting to overheat. Your oil
That's
system is too hot.
by the time.
Right.
Excuse me.
So that was eye-opening for me. I was
Well,
like,
and that's,
oh,
by that's that, it's a race of attrition, right? By the end
mhm,
of halfway through the day on Sunday. I mean, early Saturday morning, the track is packed, but then people
right.
start breaking things,
Mhm,
So then you get where there's 30 cars or 40 cars, and now you're really laying on it, and you've been
mhm,
beating the hell out of your car for 2 days.
right.
So at lower speeds because there's so much traffic.
Right.
But yeah, that becomes a problem. I was lucky when I did it that the guy that owned the car was an auto shop teacher.
Ooh.
And yeah, so his students built our car, and it was their senior project. And because we were local, a lot of them would come out because they wanted to see what their project was doing.
Mhm.
So we had our own little kind of built-in crew that would come like a bunch of minions, and
Mhm.
whenever we came in, they would check the car out.
Oh,
It was great. And it was stuff like that, like you build the car, they're building it in auto shop.
hmm
That's great.
and they're
But
racing
now we're
it.
going to get it out here and hammer it and see what happens. And sometimes sometimes it wasn't great. So
No, sometimes
but
they're not, but sometimes I remember what was it? The one at New Jersey where they were having trouble with it, and I think it broke down, so they just at the end of the race they just all went out there and they pushed it across the finish line.
nice.
Right.
No, that was pit race.
Oh, that was pit race? Yeah. So everybody just froze at that point. Everybody had come in, but they didn't end the race until they pushed that car across the finish line.
I love that. By
Yeah,
any
we've
means
seen some good
necessary,
ones.
you know?
Yeah, we've seen some good ones, but we
Yeah.
love seeing that out there. And it's
But that's
perfect
that
for it.
family environment, that I think road racing really fosters. It's not an us and them thing. If your car breaks and you made it the whole 2 days, they're gonna come out there and push your car over the finish line
Right?
for you. You
Right?
know, it's stuff like that is just great experience.
hmm
It is. It's a lot of fun.
So when you're at the track,
Mhm.
um, and you've done the lemons racing, I imagine you're just your role is instructor and driver. Have you any interest in the other areas of it, whether it be data, organization? Do you have any idea about going down a light mechanical avenue?
I've
Say yes, say
learned,
yes. You could join me.
yeah,
Say
I've
yes.
I've learned some mechanical stuff over the years, just, because
Mhm.
driving a 30-year-old car. And I would love to learn more about it. I feel like, well, I feel like the more you can do for yourself, the
Mhm.
more the more independent you can be when you're there, and the more you can help out other people.
Mhm.
So I'm totally down as far as like data acquisition goes. That's what I do for a living. I'm a data nerd.
Oh.
Like, um, one of the things, one of the main things that I do in my corporate job is I do legal research. So
Mhm.
I love me some data. So if I could get 2 data points, I want to pick
Bill,
them apart and figure it out.
Christina, Bill.
That's such a part of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I feel like there's so much. This year doing it all by myself has been a bit frustrating because I realize how much I don't know
Mhm.
mechanically.
Mhm.
And when you're at the track, it's great because you have lots of help. But you're not always at the track. When I'm at home, I had to move the anchors for my seats, so I had to get a hole saw and cut holes in the floor of my car.
Mhm.
Um, that's unnerving when you're here by
Christina,
yourself.
I'm
Yeah,
going to send you my phone number and you can just seriously FaceTime me.
yeah, I would love that.
You FaceTime me. I literally run our garage.
I
My, how
know, I
far
know
we've
you're
come.
like the master over there. You're the master mechanic.
I
Bill's
just
What?
just
fixed
the arm
I just
candy.
repaired the
So
lift because
Well,
I got tired of
I
waiting.
saw that on Facebook. I was
a-
like, that is impressive.
as
I
you saw at
love
Mid
that.
Ohio, it's not me, obviously.
Hmm. Yeah. Wasn't going to go there, but since you did, I will agree.
Yeah. Yeah, you FaceTime me and I can walk you through almost anything.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll hold the phone for both of you. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill's going to be the flashlight holder. So,
All right.
So,
So wait.
okay.
This is the point in the podcast. I have two bombs that we're going to drop. And this
oh
first
boy.
bomb is on my two Wilson sisters. And I'm hoping Audra as well. There seems to be a lack of lady instructors, especially at NASA Great Lakes. And
No way.
I think we have a plan for next season that we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
So um,
Really?
I do.
Yeah. I'm in
Do
3
tell,
now, but I'm
lady.
not in 3 NASA,
You're in the Great Lakes.
not Great Lakes. I'm in 3, but I will comfortably in 3, but I
Mm,
will be beginning 3 in NASA
In Robbins 3.
in Robbins.
So the goal is for
I'm very pleased to know this.
the goal for my beautiful bride, and I believe for Miss Jen, is next year to graduate from 3.
That is amazing.
Mhm.
I will. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so
Ah.
we'll be out there quite a bit. 'Cause
I get to stay home.
Bill's going to go ahead and take my responsibilities at home until Mia's up and out.
Mhm.
And then he's going to go ahead and let me trailer my car and
Do you hear
meet
that
you
in
on
the
our
background? Do you hear that? That's all of NASA Great Lakes going, yes. Oh, sorry.
Yes, they are. Trust me. I am very, very excited to hear
Yeah.
that from both of you. And boy, we got some plans for next year. So yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Audra comes in a little further. She's got a further drive if she wants to make it to NASA.
Great Lakes.
Yeah, Great Lakes. She's out of Massachusetts.
oh boy.
Yeah, that's a haul.
Yeah.
Hence the request for the 2 pit race next year. But, just
Hey,
trying.
whatever we can do is what we can do.
Exactly.
Um,
We've got 3 right in line. Audra's probably
If they can get it to pit race,
twice.
we can probably get more ladies there.
Yeah.
So
Well-
I'm thinking Audra's like a 2025 class instructor, and Jen and Vic have a shot at 2024.
I am super, super, super excited about that. And we can talk about it all you want. I've got plans. I can get you guys out in the car. We can do ride-alongs, help you through DE3. I know lots of people that I can, help you do that if I don't have time to do it. But yes, 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 yes. This is
Yeah. We
this is
kind of
what I want.
actually did a lot of work already in NASA Great Lakes. We just had to level off at 2.
Uh-huh.
Because of it was basically that my daughter was just like, listen, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And she was at that point of preferring not to attend with us.
Right.
And the last thing I wanted to do was drag her with me, because if she wanted to do what I was doing, the last thing I wanted to do was force her to do it.
Absolutely. And
So,
having a sullen teenager that doesn't want to be there makes it. I mean, I
yeah,
had one of those. When Patrick, before he was 16, he came to the track with us
yeah,
for a whole
and
summer, and he had a great time. And then he got a job, and he got a 16-year-old job, which meant he worked on Saturdays. So
Right.
that was the end of him coming to the track with us.
Mhm.
But I get it, and if they don't want to be there, that's no fun for anybody.
No, and I think that she actually did come out again. She goes, Mom, you have to understand, there's just nothing for me to do there. There's
Right.
nothing. I have
Mhm.
nothing to stimulate me whatsoever,
Right. Yeah, my
So,
older son is not into cars at all. He does not want to be there. He doesn't care about it. He
mhm.
thinks it's great that I do it, and he's
Yeah,
supportive, but he doesn't want to come out and do that. He never did, even when he was
no,
younger. The little
yeah,
one likes cars. He was a mechanic. He liked that. But if it's not her thing, it's
yeah.
not her thing. So,
Well,
So
it's
that's
just,
why we all put the brakes on for traveling out that way.
but
and you know what? It's going to be over before you know it. Trust
Well,
me.
hubby's
My kids
staying.
are 30 and 27, and it
Mhm.
happened in the blink of an eye.
I know.
So if
Well,
she said she wants you to stay home with her, then that's what you do.
yep. Hubby is taking over my roles here. So
Bless your heart, hubby.
the girls are going to be traveling.
I love
Audra,
it.
when you're ready, you can just stay at my house halfway, and then
There you go.
we'll carry on.
Hey, we
Awesome.
can have a party here the night before Gingerman and the night
Mhm.
before Audubon. Audubon's 45 minutes from here, and Gingerman's 90 minutes.
Mhm.
Um,
you
so
suck.
Kim Coffee lives in St. Louis.
Yep.
I know
So
Kim.
yeah, she'll be here. She can't drive yet. She had an accident.
Oh
She's
no.
got an injury. Um,
Was it street or track?
no, it was the most random thing ever. She was attacked by a dog.
Oh,
But it tore her wrist up, and so she's got so she's got a kind of a mess going on, and she can't drive yet, not, at track level. But she is coming out to hang out at Audubon. So I was on the
mhm.
phone with her earlier, like, so when are you going to be here? Because she'll come spend the night here with me, and then we'll go to the track.
It's awesome.
Kim's my home.
Wow.
Yes, she's like my track bestie. So
I think I was her
Oh,
second instructor.
yeah. We
wow,
bonded. She's such a nice person. You just kind of bond instantly with her.
she's fantastic. Yeah, she's
Mhm.
she's a great girl.
And she names
We
her cars.
Well, we met at Gingerman, and that was that. Like, okay, so we're gonna be friends now. So
Mhm.
That was, last year, and we've been joined at the hip ever since. So yeah, she's become a great friend of mine. And again, you meet great people through at the track. So
Mhm.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to
I'm
hear this. She
so
hurt. She got
excited
attacked.
to know you guys are going to come out and make a run at instructing. It is awesome.
Yeah. If I could just get past through the actual getting sick in the passenger seat, that's I'm still working
Oh,
through
there's
that
ways
one.
around that.
Yeah, well, we're working on that.
I got
My whole
two.
car is stripped out, so you can sit in my passenger seat, and if you throw up, we'll just hose it out. And you can do that until you get used to it.
That's right.
I've had kids, you don't scare me. So
That's right.
All right, so ladies, that was bomb
Yes.
number one. I'm going to hold bomb number two for a moment, but
wait, there's more.
there's more.
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the
did?
Sentinel.
We did.
We
How did
we
you
were
like it?
You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works,
Mhm.
but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes,
That's right.
but we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it for
We were streaming it live.
we're boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos on
Yep.
on your app also, and the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in,
It was
easier
easy.
than I thought it was.
I know you kept
So
making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard. It was
actually,
until we focused on it. It wasn't too bad. And then we got some
no,
help. It was pretty easy.
yeah, it was. It was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got a USB stick backup. So I just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So if you watched us earlier and said, "Wow, they got from there to there really quickly," you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out. But
Yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
slightly.
What slightly when it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in, and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car, and that was amazing.
Which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. And I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay. So it wasn't bad. And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes. So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we got to see the driver and the front windshield. And if we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at? I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right. Very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo!
But there's more.
We've got a small population on this podcast. We have a lady instructor already, and we have 2 next year and possibly one more the year following. How do we solve the problem? We started the podcast to help explain to people that this was possible and get people started. So how do we do this? How do we fix this?
I'm hoping that Instructor Summit is going to help some, just to get in front of some other like chief instructors, probably mostly men, but to just put this on their radar that, hey, it's a problem. And I don't know if it's necessarily a problem, but for me it is. And for you guys, it's probably going to be too.
Well, it's not the way it should be.
We need more representation. So
I don't even think it's so much either representation. I just think it's,
we need visibility, I think, more than
exactly.
representation. Yeah.
Yeah, because once women find out about it
Right.
and they show up, they're hooked. Right, Audra?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
These intro students, they buy this car, they buy a Supra, or they buy, a GR Corolla. So they buy kind of like a zippy little car. And every female student that I have had has come to me after their day is over and said, this is incredible. Like, take my money. How do I sign up and do this again? For the most part, they love it. And it's like it was for me, and probably like it was for you guys too. It just opens this whole world to you that you didn't even know was there.
And then,
And I really want to bring that to more people.
Yeah, it's just trying to get people, it's trying to get in front of people and to say,
Right.
hey, it is possible. And usually when I talk to women, I'm just like, hey, come on out to the garage. Hey, come out and see what we got.
Right.
And I think like in November, we usually, because it's more of our local track, it's kind of wrapping things up. Usually is when we start bringing out individuals who are just like, hey, you know what? It's local. You guys come out. I says, we'll feed you. We'll even offer you cars to be in. So come and
There you
join
go.
us. I
It's
think
an
we have enough.
HPDE.
Yeah, it's an HPDE.
Mhm.
And just to get people in a seat, because once they're in a seat and they realize that they can do it, they're kind of
Yeah.
hooked at that point,
That's what the beauty of the intro program is.
Mhm.
These people buy these cars and it's like, bring it out. We're going to show you what your car can do.
Mhm.
And it's like, holy cow. Like, they buy these cars, and sometimes they buy it because it's cool, right? But tracking it has not really occurred to them, really, because
Right.
they're like, this is my sweet baby car. And I'm like, look it, we're going to show you how to do this and not damage your sweet baby car.
Right.
But yeah, once they realize that's a thing, and please send me information on when it is you're going to do that. I'm
You're it.
out of town for part of November. We're going to Mexico for my 50th birthday.
Woohoo.
But if I'm in town, I will come out and hang out with you guys, because that
You're-
sounds super fun, and I would be down to do that.
I think it's Ozarks weekend.
I thought Ozarks was October.
I don't know. Tim tried to use that as an excuse to get out of going, so I'm not sure.
Oh, that could be. Oh, and I just lied. Yeah, Ozarks is November 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll have to figure it out. We'll have to do something else then.
We'll come up with something. There's no long list. So, bomb number 2, ladies weekend. Are we doing New Jersey or Thompson next year? Because we're inviting Miss Chris.
Yay!
New Jersey or Thompson? Which is easier for her?
I
Probably
live
New
outside
Jersey.
of Chicago, but I'll
me
go
there.
wherever.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
don't know.
fussy.
Thompson would be a hard drive for her.
Well, about the same.
I'm dragging it to Ozarks. I'm dragging
Oh,
it to
that's true.
Pitman's.
Well,
That is
So-
true.
There's no drag in this one. You just have to get yourself there. We'll take care of the car for you.
Oh,
Well, I think that if there's going to be any choice of it, I would say New Jersey, only because it is the beginning of the season. It's the most fun party we've ever had every single year. And it's kind of easy. We don't have to battle like the swelter of Thompson, because it does have a tendency to get very
August in Thompson, Connecticut.
August at Thompson is brutal. Although this past year was very nice, but
That's because we
they have
weren't there.
they have a history of being quite brutal. Yeah.
so when is this blessed event?
It is probably in June.
June. It's in June. Beginning of June. Beginning first or second week of June.
So
I'm
we
down.
have Miss Christina will be there.
Yeah.
I am excited.
All
Yes.
girl team.
And
Another
Judge
girl team going in.
and
Audra
Judge
is going to
She-
be bringing her own car.
and Judge
I'm
Shelley.
down. We're down to clown, girls. Let's go do it.
Okay.
So we can either have Audra in her car, or we can just
We've
have
already
Audra in the all-girl team.
we've already invited Judge Shelley, so we have to make sure.
Oh, that's right. We have Shelley.
That's right. That doesn't mean you
Yeah.
can't have a five-way girl
Yay, I'm
team.
excited. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's
problem.
awesome.
Got to make up for having to talk to me at all those NASA Great Lakes events somehow.
Oh, the struggle's been real, Bill.
I know. It's terrible. So we've talked a little bit about the what was originally the Toyota. I don't even know what the name was. Toyota Hyperdrive.
We used to call it Supra Sundays because
Super
it was
Sunday.
Toyota Supras.
Mhm.
It's a program that was started with Toyota, and it was, if you bought a new Toyota Supra, they would give you a free track day. So it was something that NASA was doing in conjunction with Toyota. And that was essentially the idea was to show people what these like affordable supercars could do, because I mean, the Supras are incredible cars. They're amazing cars. Super quick, super responsive. They're just awesome. And it kind of grew out of that. So they did that for a couple of years. And then Toyota opened the program to different GR products. So it was if you bought a Corolla or a Supra or any other like performance level Toyota, they would do the same thing for you. And last year, they decided maybe it doesn't just need to be a Toyota thing. So it's pretty affordable. I think don't quote me on this, it's a couple $100, maybe $250. And you can come out. It's a 1-day event rather than a 2-day HPDE event. And it is the way that we're presenting this to people is it is a true introduction to track day. So it's very hands-on for people who are not sure if this is for them or not. So we have our own paddock space because it's a big group. We show them where's NASA Central. How do you buy a helmet? Where do you go when you get to the track? What's a grid? Where do you go on the grid? So it's grown out of that, and it's really to build your comfort level and let you decide if this is a sport for you or not. The time that we're on track, we do lead follow. So we're showing them, they can follow us and learn the line. And when they come off track after that first track session, they're so excited they can't stand it. Holy cow, because this is something that a lot of these people, it would have never occurred to them to even do this if Toyota didn't say to them, like, here, take your car out to the track. What? So it's become a really great feeder program for HPDE1 because people come out, they do one event, and then they're like, how can I do this some more? One of the best aspects of the day is we take them and put them in ride-alongs. So we start with HPDE 3, so 3 and 4 in time trials, and we take our students and put them right seat in a car. And then when they come out of the car, they're holy cow, their minds are blown that you can go this fast and do this. And then I get to say to them, that person's been doing this for 3 years. In 3 years, you could be doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You could be giving other people new drivers ride-alongs in your car and teaching new people how to do what you learned how to do. And the excitement is just contagious. So it's been a really rewarding experience. And to see now that it's gaining a little traction and we're getting some more attention and we have other cars coming out. The last one we did, we had a Honda Type R, which that's my baby. I drive a Civic Si is my daily. So we're getting some other stuff out there. We've had a couple Corvettes, a couple BMWs. And so I'm hoping to grow that way into this being a true introductory experience, because we all know, especially if you're doing this by yourself, getting to the track is overwhelming. You pull in and it looks like everybody knows what they're doing and where they're going.
And
Really,
for the
that is
most part,
not the
they
case.
do.
Well, yeah, but you pull in and you're like, where the hell do I go? And it's a lot if you've never done it before. And most of the time, what looks like organized chaos is truly just chaos. But
Mhm.
to the uninitiated, they don't know that.
Mhm.
So I think it's demystifying the process some, which was the goal of the program. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done. I started the beginning of this season with Chris Herbst, who is one of my best friends in the world. And now I get to work with him every track weekend. So that has been really great. Chris is a fantastic friend to me, and we get along really well, and we play off each other really well. He handles the classroom. I'm more of the smart ass, big shock. So, I get some of the comic relief, and take the nerves down a notch and show people that, this can be fun. This is fun. You're going to meet so many people. You're going to have a great time, and you're going to learn some stuff. And if you leave the track and you never do this again, ever, you still have learned something that's going to change the way you drive on the street every day.
Mhm.
Um, and that's, and they kind of look at you and I'm like, well, you're going to be sitting, in some stopped traffic or slow traffic on the highway, and you're going to look 5 cars ahead to see what the problem is. And then it's going to occur to you, hey, I wouldn't have known to do that before, but now I do, instead of looking at the car in front of you. Traffic management, right? So, I think it takes a little bit of the mystery out of it, and I'm really happy with the work we've been doing, and I'm looking forward to growing this class next year too. Bigger and better.
Is
Yeah,
it
we did a 10-part series all related to all of that, what you had just said.
Really?
We did on our podcast. We went over
it turned into a
uh
12-part series by the time we got
yeah.
done? Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about, your big basics, like if you are going to enter in the sport, not just um autocross, but endurance,
Right.
what you should have in a paddock, all your big basics, how to plan your paddock for the weekend, the best ideas on easiest way to preparing meals, how to rent trailers, basic tools to bring. Oh yeah, we
I would
took a
love to be able
Carp,
to
very
show
big deep
that to
dive
my
into it.
students.
carp prep.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Well,
That is super.
Yeah, we did car prep. We did when you're buying your first car, what to look for and what
Mhm.
to avoid. Um,
I'll send you links, Chris.
yeah,
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 please
we
do,
did.
because I would love that.
Mhm.
Most of, like our intro students, there was a guy there the last time, and we tech the cars, but a lot of the cars are brand new. So, I'm like, oh, well, how many miles? Well, I've got 2,500 miles on it.
Yeah,
And you're taking it out on the track. But we do go through the whole tech process with them the same as we would if they showed up in some rattly 91 Miata, for
I'm
instance.
right here.
Um,
Right here.
so that if they decide to continue to do this, they know what to expect. And that would be great. That's the kind of stuff that I like to
Mhm.
pass on.
Yeah,
And I have students all over. So, even students that not intro students, but prior students that I've done right seat instructing with. Um, I've had, since I started doing this, I've had one guy move to California. I've had another guy move to Memphis. So my students are spreading around the country kind of, and they'll call or email me and say, hey, this is what's going on, and I try to stay in touch with them. But I would love to be able to pass that information on to them too. Like, Here's what you should have in case you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I'm glad to know that you guys did that.
We're on the same page of trying to get people in.
Yes.
Trying to
I joke that
demystify it.
intro is kind of the gateway drug, right? So
Yeah.
you
But
show up and we're like, here, try this candy for one day.
So I've
yeah,
got
but you are right though, is just the initial, it is overwhelming
It
to go
is.
from your sofa to show up at the front door
Right.
of
Yeah.
a racetrack.
And there's
It is.
hundreds of cars and there's activity and noise and it's a lot. So we're trying to take some of the mystery out of it for them.
So I've got one little question before we go to the Fast and Furious Storytime questions, which are endlessly fun. Do you think it's better received that you're a lady instructor by a female student?
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It depends on the woman.
Sure.
And I don't really adopt the philosophy that, oh, you're a woman, you should have a female student. Nah, not necessarily. I think if you're going to spend that amount of time in a car with somebody, like you do over the course of a weekend, if you're right seat instructing, it's more about your personalities. And that's one of the things I'm trying to get away from is, oh, here, you're a girl, go have a female student. Or you're a female, you just showed up at the track. We've got a woman that can instruct you. It should be more about your talents and your rapport. Certain personalities mesh better with certain personalities, and it's not always that simple that you're both women, so you'll get along just fine.
Yeah. I think it's good to have a female instructor as a reference point, though.
Yes.
Maybe not the in-car instructor, but to be able to ask that, potentially, you're scared to ask what could be a dumb question, which is never a dumb question.
Well, like I said, I try to take the mystery out of it for people. Yeah.
Indeed.
And if that is more non-threatening because I'm a woman, then that's great. That works. Whatever works to get people where they need to be.
Because I've asked the dumbest questions ever.
Oh, we all have.
I almost fell for the.
When you first start doing it, you look back and you're like, really? But yeah, really didn't know that. So it's what it is. Got to learn somehow, right?
Took a few seconds not to fall for the blinker fluid joke, but yeah.
or a summer air joke. Change from your summer air to your winter air in your tires.
Indeed.
Happens all the time.
Miss Vicki, it's time.
It is time. It is time.
That went by really fast.
No.
You don't get out that easy.
Oh no.
The Fast and Furious Storytime questions. We get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
And I'm going to start off with the question. Or Jennifer, would you like to start off with the question?
I think she's frozen.
I think she's frozen. What was your first car and what was the worst car you ever had?
Oh, that's easy because those are both the same answer. It was a Pontiac 6000 that I bought from a used car lot. I was very proud of it. And I drove from the used car lot across the street to the gas station to put gas in it. Could still see the car lot. I got out, slammed the door, and the window crank fell off. So the ink was literally not dry on the paperwork and the window crank fell off. And so that was the story that was the story of how that car began, and it did not get better over time.
Well, it was a Pontiac 6000, so yeah, there it
is. As you drive away and the guys in the dealership like high five each other.
I know, we got rid of that piece of garbage, didn't we?
Indeed.
Right, so what is one thing about you, one thing that no one knows about you that would surprise them?
Oh boy, one thing that no one knows about me that would surprise them.
Or few people.
Don't worry, no one will hear it. It's just between us.
That's true.
Just us.
It's not like anybody knows we had a 12-part intro to racing series or anything, It's fine. It's fine.
Well, one thing probably I was pretty girly when I was younger. I was a tomboy. I played a lot of sports, but I was also a ballet dancer.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I did ballet and I did modern dance, and I was competitive.
ooh.
Who knew? Let's see.
That explains your pedal work in a race car.
Yes, maybe that's it. No, my feet are too small. That's another thing people would probably like to know about me. I don't heel toe downshift.
I'm right there with you.
Never learned. I shared
It's
a car with
hard.
I shared a car with my husband when I started doing this, and my feet
Mhm.
were too small, so couldn't get it done. And I never learned. But most people, best kept secret ever, most people don't realize it if they're in the car with me. Now you're probably going to go tell Eric, and he's going to give me a hard time. So,
Eric would give you a hard time anyway. Don't worry. You're fine. Well, since Miss
So,
Jen is frozen, I think I'm going to go with do you have a car that got away? It could be a car that you sold and you wish you didn't, or a car you almost bought and you didn't, or
I don't think I have. Like, I've got some bucket list cars, things I
oh,
would like to buy.
we'll get to those. Don't worry.
But as far as one that's got away, I love my little Miata, so I don't look around a whole lot.
Okay.
I did look at the charity raffle winner car that came up last week, and I thought hard about buying that one. It's caged and fire suppression and all this kind of stuff, and then I was like, you're just gonna borrow trouble. I don't need all that stuff to run TT. So the next thing you know, I'm gonna be wheel to wheel. It's gonna be a whole thing. So I decided to just skip it altogether. But no, I've driven other stuff. I drove a Hellcat at Sebring, and I hated it.
Mm,
And oh my God, it was bloated and blech,
it's not a
turned like a
Miata.
boat. It was terrible.
it's
No, it
not
was
a
like the
Miata.
anti-Miata.
Yeah, it's not a
Um,
Miata.
and that's one of the most fun things about doing instructor training school is you drive all of the instructor candidates' cars. So 6 different cars and 6 different sessions, and they have to learn how to instruct you. So
That's
I
so much
drove a
fun.
GTI and a Mustang and a Corvette and all kinds of fun stuff. But no, did it all, and it was fun, and couldn't wait to get back in my little Miata. So
So, what car sticks out from your family sticks out the most from your younger
huh,
years?
let's see. My mom, I learned how to drive stick on my mom's minivan. My mom had a stick shift minivan when I got my driver's license, and we didn't have very much money, so it was either learn how to drive mama's minivan or take the Schwinn Express. So I learned how to drive stick early, when I was 16, because that was my only option. And I think back to that a lot, that every car I owned after that was a stick. And when I taught my kids how to drive, their first cars were also sticks. And one of the things that you don't think about is none of their stupid friends can drive their cars. So you don't have to worry about that kind of thing because no one knows how to drive stick.
And they can't use their
Um,
phone.
so that's one thing that I think back to is my mom in that crazy minivan. That thing was an absolute nightmare. It was broken all the time. But if it wasn't for that minivan, I don't know that I would be where I am, because I learned how to drive stick early on and stayed with it. And it was one less thing to have to master when we decided to go do this.
I think Miss Jen's back. Miss Jen, but you're on mute. Still on mute. Almost there. It's the red button.
Yeah, well, I haven't been able to master video, so
Okay. Nope.
Do you have a race car number?
Sorry, I found
Oh.
it.
Okay, go ahead, Jen.
I can't see anybody right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Pick your favorite
what
question.
What is your favorite car movie or movie with a car in it?
Oh, my favorite car movie.
Uh-huh.
That's such a great question. I'm gonna go with the Disney movie Cars.
Oh, that's not the first. Not the first.
It's a really clever movie, and it's one of those Disney movies that there's enough fun stuff in it for adults that you don't realize is in the movie. And I really like it. It's a cute movie, so and I
I
think
like it too.
yeah, see, it's great.
All right. Well, Miss Jen's behind us, so why don't you take another one, Miss Jen?
Okay. So what is your dream race car?
Oh, my dream race car. Ooh. Aston Martin.
Which one?
DB10.
DB10.
Yes.
Not going crazy, Valkyrie.
No, that's too much. Aston Martin DB10, and I want one for the street and one for the track. Thank you very much.
All right.
I'll take two,
My
please.
favorite car. Yeah, sure. Why not two, right?
Well, I know which
My
question I'm
favorite
going to
car
ask
ever.
now.
And again, it's pretty far cry from my little Miata, but
It's almost the same.
sure.
What about pre-race rituals? What do you do before you go out to race?
Oh, before I go out, if I am not on grid 10 minutes early, I'm not going. Like, I need to be there early because
With
I'm
you.
one of those people that's going to mess with my belts 10 times. And one of the things that I do, I don't care how many times I have been to a track, I have to sit there. I need a minute. I got to close my eyes and I have to visualize the track, the whole track, every turn, if I can. If it's something that's new to me, I do as much as I can so that when I get out there, I can piece it together. But yeah, and I have to be there early. I cannot be rushed. I need my 10 minutes.
You know what the perfect time to get there is? Right as the group ahead of you is leaving.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Right.
All right. Well, since you kind of laid the foundation for this, we're going to win the lottery. And it's a big lottery, huge lottery. So we're going to buy an island, and on our island we're going to build a racetrack, and the racetrack will have one for asphalt and one for dirt. And as a thank you to all of our wonderful podcast guests, we're going to invite you to come to our island and race around and do what you want. So in order to be good hosts, we want to know what car you'd like. Like, what 5 cars do we need to have ready for you at our island so you'll be happy?
If you're going to do a dirt track, we need to get some souped up dune buggies, and we need to get about 6 of them because
right.
those you can do 3 wide across the track because they're little.
Okay,
That's
so we
what I want.
got dune buggies. Do you want
Yeah,
4 more
wanna
cars,
throw
or you
some
want
dirt
6
around.
dune buggies?
I need my Aston. That's
Okay.
going to be for the asphalt.
Mhm.
So now we're talking like,
Got 3 more.
oh boy. So what else do we need? I feel like we almost have to have a monster Miata.
Okay,
Why wouldn't you? Of course.
it's a big lottery. We've got plenty for that.
Yeah, and that's like a baby purchase, right?
Mhm.
In lottery land.
Mhm.
Oh, what else do we need? We probably need
I will
I don't
tell
know.
you,
Do we want some F1 cars?
uh, whatever you want. It's a huge lottery.
Huge lottery. Yeah, so we probably
I
need
went
a
for the
couple F1
taco
cars.
truck.
Yes, Miss Jen went for the taco truck, so that's taken care of.
Yes. That would be amazing. We need some monster trucks
Tacos.
with wheels. Yeah.
I hear Vicki laughing through the house, but she's on mute, so it's very funny.
Well, we got to go mudding, right? So got to wet down that dirt track and
Not a problem.
go to town with our trucks.
Well, Ross Bentley requested that we have sprinklers around the entire track so we can have a
Yeah.
wet track. So it's fine.
Mhm. That's the best.
Okay, you got one more car. What do you want?
Oh boy, what else? You know what I want? I want a sprint car.
Okay,
I want a dirt sprint car. Throw that sucker around. That'll be fun.
very well.
Yeah. You'll notice most of it is
You're getting dirty.
and it's on the lower end of the speed spectrum because Miata. So
Yeah.
in the scheme of supercar land.
I was surprised we didn't have a Miata come up, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, Monster Miata. We need one.
Oh, that's
Miata
true.
with V8.
Yeah,
Yep.
there we go. Miss Audra, what would your Fast and Furious story time question be?
So, any great stories from your first time on track?
When I look back now, I want to go and hug every instructor I ever had when I first started doing this. I was that person that was eternally on the wrong side of the track. I think the first the first session that I did, I don't think I broke 40 miles an hour. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I think about that a lot now when I see some of my students out there. I had one guy say in his Supra, I don't know if you'll be able to stay in front of me with your Miata. And I said, oh, I think I'll be okay. And then you look, you're on the front straight at Mid Ohio and you look and the guy's way,
That's when
10 car lengths behind you. And you're like, come on, get up here, buddy.
that's when you break
But I
out the
remember
Southern
being
charm.
that guy. So yeah, that was my first time on track. I probably did the entire session up the middle of the track. Yeah.
Well, that is a line. I mean, whatever.
It wasn't raining though. That
Mm.
was just where I wanted to be. So
It's fine. Okay, so let's see. I think this is my second one. So let's go with or third one. I don't remember. What car would you love to switch into that you have raced against in the past, and at what racetrack?
what car would I like to switch into that I've raced against in the past?
Could be HPDE, could be time trials, could be whenever.
Either a 944 or an S2000.
Okay, who's won and what track?
I would take the S2000 at NCM.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it likes the turns. And I would take the 944 probably at pit race.
No Mid Ohio in the rain?
Oh God, Mid Ohio in the rain. Please don't age me. It's rough. Struggle's real.
Very
no,
real.
I want my Miata that I know very, very, very well when I'm at Mid Ohio in the rain. But yeah, I would take an S2000 or a 944.
Awesome.
Bring it. What else?
Well, I believe I had one lined up here. So, do you have a car number and why do you choose it?
My car number is 219, and that is my home area code. I live in Northwest Indiana. And my car number for years was 73. Then I got divorced. And it's one of the things I lost in my divorce was my 73. And I was like, all right, what am I going to do now? So 219 it was. I'm representing Northwest Indiana. And 19's always been a lucky number, so it worked out.
I have one more question though. Can I ask it?
That's your last one.
What is your most memorable breakdown?
Oh boy.
They're always good.
I was in a lemons race and it was my first time in this car and it was a Honda Del Sol and we used to call it the Del Slow. And I had never been in this car before and it was Friday, so it was like shakedown day, right? And I was coming around a turn and I went to downshift and the whole shifter came off in my hand. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell just happened? And I'm hitting the radio like, guys, yeah, I'm holding this. Yeah.
Waving the stick out the window. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
right. So, and it turned out it was just, it was a nut that came loose. But scared the hell out of me. Oh, and another one, let's see.
That's the first one we haven't ever done to Jen.
I completely lost brakes in the Deuce, which everyone's like, oh, that little Deuce, it's like 100 horsepower. I had that sucker up to 105 miles an hour on the back straight, which if you know that Honda, that Mazda 2, that was everything that car had. I mean, we borrowed squirrels to get it going.
Yep. To go faster, you'd have to go off a cliff.
I went to hit the brakes on the back straight at Mid-Ohio, went all the way to the ground, all the way to the floor. Oh, goody. So that was a very memorable China Beach ride. I'm pretty sure they're still picking sand and dirt and stuff out of that car, and it was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what would be your dream road trip if you could go anywhere to and from? Or
I would start probably in Boston, and I got this idea from my aunt. She's been to every ballpark in the country.
Oh, wow.
She's been to every MLB park in the country. I would do that, but I would hit as many tracks as I could between Boston and California. So
That's
I
a
would
lot of
map it
tracks.
out, figure how many I could do, get myself a toter home, and go to town. I would hit every one that I could.
Sounds like you're a
That would be
future
the
one
best
lap.
road trip ever. And if time is no object, you still have time to go find the world's largest ball of string or whatever other stupid thing is, on the way, because who doesn't love that stuff?
Sounds like you're a future one lap of America driver. Miss
I
Audrey?
would love to do one lap.
In your opinion, how much racing is learned versus what is natural skill?
I think I've met some incredibly intuitive drivers. I've met some people that it's just natural skill. But I think that you can learn too. And I think, there's two ways to skin a cat. It's my son is a musician, and he's never had a lesson. He did not grow up in a home with musicians. Neither one of Mark or I is musically inclined. But we bought him a bass guitar and he picked it up, and that was it. Like, and he lives in Fort Wayne now. He works for Sweetwater, which is a huge music distributor. He's in like 5 bands. And for him, it was all just work. And I think back to when I first started doing this, and I certainly did not have any natural talent. But I learned, and I'm not the best driver ever, but I hold my own. And I think that anything that you love, you can learn how to do it. I mean, not everybody, but most people can.
Yep. Miss Jen?
So, what is the coolest car ever? It can be old or new, in your opinion.
The coolest car ever?
Ever made.
The Batmobile.
Which one?
That's the coolest car ever.
Which Batmobile, though? There's lots of Batmobiles.
The modern Batmobile.
The new ones? Okay.
Yeah, the modern. I mean, the older ones were cool for their time, but if we're going coolest car ever, it's got to be the Batmobile. There's nothing that car can't do. What's not to love about that?
Well, I've got a question then. If it's the coolest car ever, why isn't it coming to our desert island?
Because I didn't think of it until right now when she asked me that question.
All right, all
Or
right,
it would see, so that has to come to our desert island as well.
all right. Fine. You can have 6 cars. It's fine.
Okay.
What
I would
you
trade
drive.
the dune buggy for the Batmobile. So
Oh, that's a good trade. I think that's a good
yeah,
trade.
that's a solid trade, right?
I've done worse.
Yeah,
So.
right.
So, Miss, if people want to follow along with what you've been up to, and especially if they want to get involved with the it's not hyperdrive, but whatever it's called now.
HPDE intro.
Yes. How
Mhm.
would they do that?
They can reach out to me on Gmail, and hpdeintro@gmail is our email address.
Very nice.
I would also, want to reach out to me. I give them Christina Losiniecki at Yahoo, but that's a lot of letters, and the chances of people not messing that up are pretty slim.
Just throw a
So
vowel in whenever you're confused.
between Losiniecki and Herbst, that was why we decided on HPDE intro, because that's much easier to spell. All one word at gmail.com.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Miss. And we will be reviewing schedules and making sure that one of these Lemons races works out for you in the summer next year.
I am so excited.
All
You
right.
guys, I see your pictures when you go out and you do your Lemons races, and it looks like you're having the time of your life. So
Well, there are days.
Well, there's still cars, so there's always days. But if you got the right people with you, then it's not so bad,
No.
And I am very excited. So thank you. That's really awesome. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to go out and go kick some ass with you girls. We can do it. I'm excited about that.
That'll be good. Girl weekend.
And we got some instructor time coming up. We got some DE3 to get through. Woo. We're there.
We got some work to do. We're getting busy.
Yes, we do. Let's definitely keep in touch.
Okay.
I have a women's group. It's female instructors and chief instructors from around the country. I can add you to my group. And
okay, that would be great.
Yeah, we're sort of inactive during the season just because we're all over the country and it's too hard. It's too hard to set up a Zoom with 18 women who are, all over the country and are all racers.
So we could barely get 5 together tonight.
I know it's like herding cats.
It is.
So once the season's over, I'll send out a blast and see who I can pull together, and we'll talk about what we did during the season and trade some ideas and some stories, and I'll get you guys in. I'll put you on the invitation. You can come and chat with us.
Cool. That is quite awesome. Well, thank you, Miss. I hope you enjoyed yourself on the podcast, and
I did. This was a lot of fun. I was a little nervous, and this is easy. It's just like chatting with your friends, so I can do that.
Yeah. Well, it'll be good.
I don't know if you'll
meeting you ladies that I don't already know, and
you will.
I look forward to seeing you fishers. So, who's coming to Audubon?
We've got a wedding that weekend.
Yeah.
Likely story.
I think we're booked up for the year, and then
pretty close.
Next year we have our calendar set. So
yeah,
we're going to set it up
next year yet. I can't. So I gotta get through this year. Get myself to Mexico and back, and then I can start thinking about next year.
Well, Chris,
this was wonderful.
Until you come back, just make sure that you're aware that we still have at least another 40 Fast and Furious Storytime questions, so we can do another podcast anytime you want.
Great. All right, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm down. I'm going to start thinking of some myself now, so I can give them back to you.
That's more than fair. We'll probably use them in future podcasts, so don't feel bad.
I showed up unprepared because I didn't know that was part of it. So
that's okay.
Now I'll have my questions ready for next time.
Well, preparation gets you only so far. Anyway, thank you, Miss.
Right. It's like the lemon slogan, isn't it?
It should be if it's not.
Only gets you so far. If it's not, it ought to be.
It definitely should be. Thank you, Miss.
Thank
Have a great
you.
night.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
I know we're burning pod, but we can edit this part in.
No, we can't. I'm the we.
Yes.
So
We can talk about it later.
okay.
We can.
Do you want to add that later? We'll add that
No,
later.
I want to talk about it later. I don't want to edit it.
Okay.
You have
All right.
No idea how
We'll
hard
add
that
it
is.
in. We'll
Audra,
add it in.
back me up. This is not the easiest. Vicky's like, oh, just fix it in post.
I thought you could
It's
cut and
hours.
paste.
It's hours.
Magic.
All right.
Magic.
All right. So let's just start the pod and we'll
Wait.
add that in.